Hi YouTube, Darth here. Dragon's Teeth has been out for 9 days now, and I wanted to talk about the big new game mode that shipped with the expansion, Chainlink. I've actually been having a lot of fun with it, and I wanted to talk about some of the finer points of this game mode that I think people are having frustrations with. Let's just get the negatives out of the way now. First, the game is definitely too short. You barely got enough time to get a round going before it's practically ending. On the default server setup, there's almost never time to reverse the outcome of a game, and even the closed games end with a timer way too soon. Some servers have gotten around this by running Chainlink with absurdly high tickets and timers, and it honestly feels better. DICE hasn't been immune to this criticism either. Just today in the CTE patch notes they mentioned that they were reducing the rate of the ticket burn by almost half. The other thing that I find a bit difficult about Chainlink is that it's hard to know the overall game state. What I mean is that it's hard to know if your team is doing well. You're up by 400 tickets. In Conquest that would mean a lot, but in Chainlink that could be reversed in as little as a minute or two. I'm looking forward to trying out the new ticket burn on the CTE this week, and I'm hoping that it means that the game mode is a little easier to get a feel for who is actually winning. With that out of the way, as I've said, I've been having a lot of fun with Chainlink. It's a flanker's paradise and I'm all about finding ways around my enemies. I feel like the game mode does a good job of focusing players who merely want to move from one objective to the next and gives players who want to flank, backcap, and backrage lots of ways to do that. And I think this is where a lot of player frustration comes in with Chainlink. After the initial push, it's hard for players to necessarily get a feel for where the enemies are next. I feel like this game mode is a lot different from a simple conquest and allows for a considerable amount of squad-based strategy when trying to disassemble or scatter the enemy team. An organized squad can make a very considerable impact in Chainlink, especially if the enemy team is scattered early on. Because of this, it's easy to understand why some players might have trouble with Chainlink. If you're having trouble with this game mode, I have some tips that will help you do better on this match type. Firstly, you have to play the objective. If you're not on the flag or moving to one, you're really jeopardizing your team's chances of winning. Flags capture exceptionally fast in this mode, and there really isn't a whole bunch of time to spawn in response to one being taken, especially if there are 2 or more soldiers capturing the flag. If you're defending a point, make sure you're blocking the capture so your reinforcements can spawn and the enemies cannot. Secondly, if you're playing in this objective manner, keep an eye on which flags your team has and which ones the enemy team has. Flags have different values in this game. Or rather, the number of links to which they are connected matter more than others. Enemy flags connected to 2 other flags are far more valuable than enemy flags connected to simply one. Always try to disrupt as many enemy links as possible when capturing a point. It's for this reason that the furthest flag on a chain is not necessarily the most valuable. Third, Chainlink is organized chaos. There will be enemies everywhere. If you're finding yourself constantly being flanked, it's probably time to run aggressive recon. That means getting motion sensors, a spawn beacon, and a carbine. My personal favorite is the silenced ACWR, but you might have something else in mind. Since there are often wide open areas of the map that aren't covered, you can plant your spawn beacon in a nice safe place and signal your squad to attack from that position. Remember to try to keep your beacon near the action. For the most part, you'll have free reign on enemy flanks, as enemies seldom come looking for a spawn point and instead focus on the battle line. Fourth, and maybe this will seem obvious from what I've talked about already, do not go with the flow. You don't want to be part of the giant mass of your team for reasons that I pointed out last week. You can cause far more damage to the enemy team as a lone partisan or as a squad breaking their links. It forces the enemy team to double back and recapture points they've already taken. When you think about Chainlink, think about it like it's a wide open game of lockers or Metro. There are going to be a lot of sheep running to the center and staying at the literal front line. And then there will be wolves going around to the side. If you're smart, you'll be one of the hunters. And if you're unfortunate enough to find yourself in the crowd, always pay attention to those outside lanes. If you don't see friendlies there and you don't see enemies there, assume that there are enemies there. Finally, remember that this game mode rewards aggression, encourages chaos, and can be an absolute blast to play on. That is, if your team is composed of objective-minded players, which is why I suspect a lot of folks aren't having a whole lot of fun with it. So give Chainlink a try if you haven't already. Remember, it's not Conquest and points are almost always in flux. I'm certainly enjoying Chainlink and I'm hoping to do some streaming on my Twitch channel this weekend, so I'll probably be playing it then. That's it for my review. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, YouTube.